Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Sachin Kumar. I welcome you all to this very relevant and important invited lectures on digital technologies, information consumption, and fake news. This lecture is part of and has been recorded for the refresher course on redefining ethics in the era of digitalization from theory and practice. And this is one of the important topic in today's world where we are facing problems related to information consumption, overflooding of information, and misinformation, disinformation, and the fake news. Before we start, I would like to tell you about my background. I am Dr. Sachin Kumar, working as an assistant professor at Cluster Innovation Center, University of Delhi. I work in the area of artificial intelligence, digital transformation, and computational social science. Outline for this presentation is that first I'll discuss about what is digital technology and what are the fake news related trends. I'll discuss about information, its transmission, and what are the consumption patterns. I'll discuss about what are the changes which have taken place before the digitalization and after the introduction or integration of digital technologies and the tool and softwares developed out of digital technologies. I'll discuss specifically about fake news, misinformation, disinformation, and its trend, characteristics, and consequences. I'll also discuss about how to spot the fake news and detection of the fake news in manual as well as in uh, mm, intelligent method using intelligent methods such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we'll discuss about some ethical aspects of fake news, and then we'll conclude the presentation. So let's come to the introduction part of our invited lecture. But before that, I would like to thank organizers 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 of this faculty of this refresher course and the college administration for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to uh, give you some expert information as well as insights about this emerging domain and the challenges it is posing in front of us in daily lives as well as in front of our community and the society. So let's come to the discussion again. First, we'll discuss about what is digital technologies. Digital technologies are actually uh, all electronic tools, the systems developed. These systems can be software systems or some information systems, devices, and the resources that generate information, store information, and process the data. So the well-known example of the digital technologies and the product which we have developed out of digital technologies can be considered social media platforms, online games, multimedia, and mobile phones, because all these are helping us to uh, create information, uh, put our behaviors in coded form so that that can be utilized and some insights after the analysis can be obtained. Playing of video games, earlier we used to play physical games, but now we have online for entertainment online games also. We have various multimedia and content related entertainment as well, and we also have a very powerful device in our hand which gives us power to create information, disseminate that information instantly to the masses. So one of the aspect of digital technology is also the digital learning, in which that we want to learn about whatever technologies are there and how they are impacting our learning systems, our educational systems, or anything. So that is one part of it. So digital technologies have almost impacted every sphere of our life. It can be education, it can be our business, it can be anything. But if we come and if we see the large part of it and large large domain in which it has transformed, then we go to the terminology that is called digital transformation. Digital transformation is the process of using digital technologies, tools, softwares, and all associated resources and the devices to create new or modify the existing business processes, systems related things, cultures, customer experience with government institutions, private institutions, and how do we conduct our information exchange among peers. So this is what digital transformation. It is a broad term which helps us, or which encompasses everything what digital technology and information and communication technologies uh, are developing tools, and then they are impacting our society and our life around it. Okay, so the this is what about. But due to these things, we have encountered so many challenges, and one of the challenges in today's time, because of the high speed of information creation, high speed of dissemination, instantly you can disseminate the information and it can become viral, and it can create lot of challenges for public institutions, for individuals, individual reputation, for company reputation. It can increase the share of particular companies, it can drastically reduce the share prices of companies, so it has a huge impact for an instant, and instantly it can happen. So related to thing is this thing is the concept of fake news, and to understand the fake news related thing, we have to understand the trends. So we can see that fake news and rumor circulation saw nearly a threefold rise in 2020 over 2019. So that is the scale on which fake news is being circulated now. Within 1 year, it has become threefold. A total number of 1,527 cases of fake news were recorded in 2020 compared to the 486 cases in 2019 and 280 cases in 2018. As our people or the citizens are having more access to the digital technologies, devices, resources, and internet, then they are more susceptible to the fake news and misrepresented facts and the information. So clearly, it is evident that fake news and misinformation are growing menace in India as well as in the world. To understand this trend and how much reach it has, and how much power each individual has when that person has internet connection in the mobile, that can be analyzed from this diagram, that in 2022 over the internet, this is the activity which take place, that there are 1.3 million users logging into the Facebook, people 4.1 million people are searching in 1 minute on Google, and on Netflix for the entertainment users are watching 7,64,000 hours of content. So this is just an indication, and just to tell you about that in 1 minute so much activity and the data consumption take place over the internet. And it is quite clear, and it is very famously said, that data never sleeps. We are viewing, we are using, we are creating information at an unprecedented rate. The amount of data in the world is doubling every year. If we come to the news and consumption process, uh, before digital technology integration and before this development, then basically what was the news consumption or news publishing process or information publishing process? That was quite traditional and linear. In that, what happened, that you initially have professionals who are responsible for creating information or writing news article, writing information like that. It then went to the edit stages, and then in edit stage reasonable things are done, editors are there, they read that thing, they rectify that thing, things whether that is responsible or not, or whether publisher should publish that thing or not. So that after doing so much and following the editorial policy and the state censorship related issues and the self censorship related issues, all these things were creating some yardstick. And once these things were satisfied, the information has used to be published, and then this was the control mechanism, and then it used to be amplified. So there was an editing process which used to censor the information, which used to provide you an accurate and valid, legal, and a good quality information. Okay. And you can understand that that information was considered to be as a, or it can be considered as a fact. And then after amplification, it used to be consumed by the end users. For example, end users such as newspaper readers or book readers, magazine readers, like that. So that was the traditional process. But due to the internet, the process and the news cycle has completely changed. What has happened now, because of the technology and the tools available to us and the power given to us through those tools, the structure has completely changed and it has transformed itself. Now the content creator can be a professional person or can be an amateur, and then it is also the self censorship, but self censorship is not very much of high standard or high quality. Whether that can be a self-censored or not, it doesn't matter, but it is then edited and it is published, and then it is amplified. So you can easily see here that there is no editorial scrutiny of the content. There is no state related restrictions. There is no self or society related limitations on the content, and then it is amplified, and it is amplified so highly because of uh, the speed at which the information can be disseminated through these platforms, and it is then consumed instantly by the users who are connected and who are following the news portal or social media platform or the person or the Twitter handle. So what has happened in internet is that now anyone can publish, anyone can amplify that content, anyone can edit, and there is no editor. Editorship has gone. So that's why that level of quality, that level of fact checking, that level of introduction of scrutiny and uh, to check whether that information should be published in the public, in keeping in mind the public law and order and public health, then it that process has completely gone. So this is the problem in internet and news process mechanism. After that, if you see the share of the news sources, we had traditional sources of TV and the print media, and after that we have witnessed online platforms, news portals, and some individually created websites and the social media. So we can easily see from this study of Brookings that the share of TV and the print media, which were traditional news circulation mediums, has gone down, and the social media and the online and the digital technology and digital tools, softwares, websites, their share in news sources has increased or continuously increasing. So this we have prepared now background of our lecture, and now we'll discuss about specific things and some terminologies. So first terminology is, what is the fake news? So fake news is a term that has come to mean different things for different people, but at the core of the understanding of the fake news, we define fake news as those news stories that are false. The story itself is fabricated with no verifiable fact, sources, or quotes. So that is the basic definition of the fake news. It is a simple definition. It can be enhanced. It can be made little bit more scholarly, but the fundamental things remains the same. If we come to the misinformation, The misinformation is when information, false information is shared but no harm is meant. That you are in sharing the information but your intent is not to harm anybody. Disinformation is that when false information is knowingly shared to cause harm. So your intentions are clear and you have created a false information and now you are amplifying and disseminating this information to cause harm. So that is called disinformation. Example of it is that during the 2017 French presidential election, a duplicate version of Belgian newspaper Le Jour was created with a false article claiming that Emmanuel Macron was being funded by Saudi Arabia. And what is about the malinformation? Malinformation is that when genuine information is shared to cause harm. For example, that intentional leakage of a politician private emails as happened during the presidential election in France as well as in USA election when Hillary Clinton emails were leaked. So this comes under malinformation. So we have here discussed what is fake news, what is misinformation, what is disinformation, and what is malinformation. If we come to the type of misinformation, so basically there are it is considered that there are 7 type of mis and disinformation, and they are dependent on different criteria. So the first criteria can be a satire or parody, in which in this type of information no intention to cause the harm but has a potential to fool. So it may fool the people, but the intention of the misinformation or creator of the misinformation is not to cause any harm. Then comes the misleading content. In the misleading content, there is use of the information to frame an issue or the individual, so that a misleading arena or ecosystem can be created around that event, around that issue or the individual. Then is imposter content. In imposter content, when genuine sources are impersonated, then it is called imposter content. Then there is fabricated content. In this type of misinformation, the news content is 100% false and it is specifically designed to deceive and to do harm. And the next one is called the false connection, where when headlines and visuals or captions do not support the content and they mislead the audience. So sometimes we have seen that type of information on our news channels where uh, if they are representing a bar chart, in that bar chart if some parties is scoring 67%, so that bar chart they are actually the length of that bar chart is less as compared to the 37 scoring party. So that type of information or the false connection is there. Then you have the false context, in which when a genuine content is shared with the false contextual information, the fact is okay but the it is used in that in the wrong context and in wrong conclusion is created. And after that, we the last one is we say that that is manipulated content, in which when a genuine information or imagery is manipulated to deceive the people. For example, you may have seen so many things. Several quotes have been placed with many famous peoples like Chanakya, that Chanakya has said this thing and that thing. So that all those things are not always right. If we come to the characteristics of the fake news, then we will see that fake news is used to create propaganda. It is actually promote clickbaits, sponsored content, then satire and hoax and some type of error in the content. It can be a foxtography, and deep fake type of content can also be created. Cloaking can also happen. Sensational headlines can also be created so that more people see you, but internally you see that there is no relevant or valid information. And some twisted statistics can also be presented to the audiences. So in propaganda techniques, what happens in that the people use, or the person who is creating the fake news, they use emotional words They use name calling, they use plain folks appeals, they transfer some information from here to there in that context, glittering generalities they make in that article or in that information. They write testimony of somebody out of the context somewhere else. They provide a faulty reasoning in which the actual reason says something, but they remove some steps and then they come to the wrong conclusion so that they can create their own propaganda. They use fear, they use bandwagon and the whataboutism frequently. And there are also biases related techniques in which some information is omitted when it is being created so that it can suit a particular purpose. Some placement of the information can also be very objectionable. Some photos maybe they means may be used in that sense so that a wrong impression can be created. Some statistics can be twisted as we have discussed earlier. Some loaded and more extreme words can also be used. Word choice connotations, they are actually part of biases, that when for one type of terrorism you are writing some other type of words, and for some other type of terrorism you are writing some other type of words. Like that it happens. Selection of the sources can be bias. Labeling by spin or confirmation bias can also be part of this. So fake news actually uh, constitute all these things, and it can be created by doing and by changing these things intentionally and but not ethically. So one of the important recent development in fake news arena and fake news domain is the deep fake, in which you have a personality or a famous personality, and that personality you impersonate, and you give speech to that personality, so that that is not the actual speech which that personality is giving, but you have given those words to that personality, and that personality is actually giving that lecture or that speech, something like that, although that actually it is not right. So these type of deep fakes, and presently with the technological advancement in artificial intelligence and machine learning, deep fakes and detection of deep fakes has become a very great challenge in front of the technology scientists and the people, to identify whether the person who is speaking in front of them, that is the real one or the fake one. If it comes to the virality of the fake news, means that if we are posting a real news and the fake news, then what is the speed of the fake news? So one study was conducted at MIT, and scientists clearly and categorically uh, evaluated that if you paste the false news, then it travels faster than the true stories. And we also have this saying that जब तक सच जूते पहन रहा होता है तब तक झूठ आधे दुनिया की सैर कर चुका होता है. So this has been quantified by Massachusetts Institute of Technology study about the fake news and the real news on Twitter platform, in which they have easily identified that it is almost the 6 times more speed a fake news travels as compared to the real news. So if we comes to the fake news related sources, that where more fake news related information is available. So in on social media platform you will see that fake on Facebook it is uh, the highest fake news content is shared, then followed by the Twitter, and after that it is Google and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional network, so there may be less chance to uh, do that thing, because other people may object, or other people may report that type of content if you are using on Twitter. So that's why on LinkedIn and Pinterest these type of things are less, or it may be because their reach is less as compared to the Facebook and the Twitter. But if we come to some other aspect of the fake news sources, so it is clear from this diagram that fake news is actually circulated highly from unverified accounts, and the accounts which are verified, they they do not uh, circulate the fake news, or they report that fake news. So it is better to follow the verified news, and the people who are of rationality and follow objectivity and believe in these things, rather than following any random person just for the fun to get the real news. So, in the lies spread faster than the truth, there are some statistics. So, there is a worldwide concern over the false news and the possibilities that it can influence definitely the political, economic, and social well-being. We have seen that Arab Spring happened in nearby Saudi Arabia countries, where the storm started on the Twitter, and the political dispensations, they were collapsed in those countries. And to understand how false news is spread, Khashoggi et al. Worked in on an experiment on a data set of rumor cascading on Twitter from 2006 to 2017. And in that experiment, they collected 126 rumors, and they identified that these were spread by more over 3 million peoples, and false news reached more people than the truth. So top 1% of the false news cascade diffused to between 1000 to 1 lakh people, where the truth really diffused to more than 1000 people. So that is the scale of the fake news, that it diffuses very fast, and its reach is also very deep and large. Falsehood also diffused faster than the truth, as claimed by the MIT study. Also, the degree of novelty and the emotional reaction of the recipient may be responsible for the differences observed. So, the study has provided one of the reason that if emotional user is there and the content may be novel, so emotional user may circulate it more and may forward it more. It may be that in our WhatsApp group, family groups, or in our professional groups, we may witness such type of situation, but we should try to avoid that situation, and we should always focus on what is the factual information. If we come to the cost of the fake news, we see that it create a lot of problem when it comes to the fake news and its impact, economic impact on the markets. And we this diagram tells us that share market rises and falls from a fake news. So we have also witnessed so many incident that one, if propaganda campaign is if it's targeted to one particular company. For example, in Snapdeal witnessed 2-3 times propaganda against that thing, so it lost the business very badly, although it had no problem or nothing was wrong from its business. But because of 2-3 targeted campaign on the Snapdeal, that is Indian startup or e-commerce company which was competing one time with Amazon and Flipkart, due to these incidents and the fake news and the propaganda, targeted propaganda, it lost lot of business, and now it is not in that level of competition with these other e-commerce companies. Now, after discussing so much in about this fake news, we have to understand how to spot the fake news, or how to stop the fake news and spot the fake news. So the responsibility lies with everyone, because in information sphere, or in information in this internet information age, we all are having multiple roles. We are having role of author, we are having role of publisher, we are using platform, we are amplifying the information, we are also the reader. So at each level we have to ensure that information is factually correct, as an author, as an publisher, as an platform, as an amplifier. So at every step we have to become editor and a scrutinized person, so that we understand that whatever we are posting, publishing on any platform, or amplifying or reading, that is actually the real news. But there are other mechanisms which companies are also trying to follow, that is based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, in which the previously created fake news, they are analyzed, and according to those news, if new content is posted like that, so machine learning algorithms classify those informations and news as fake news. And if more people report to those news, then those stories are blocked so that they do not spread more and create damage. So this is one way of stopping the fake news. But if we have to spot the fake news manually, then what should we do? So to spot the fake news, we have to first identify what is the source from where this information has been generated. We have to understand whether that source is valid source, or it is just a not a valid source or not authentic source. We have to check about the author, whether the author uh, is a authentic, as well as a has standing in that field where that person is sharing the information. We have to check the date. Sometimes what happens that elections are going on, and some videos of crime, or some crime related videos, or some other specific videos from previous date or from 10 to 15 years back, they come. And sometimes it also happens that we witness videos during election time in through the propaganda, which that incident happened in some other country, and but that is being circulated that it happened in the local area. So we have to ensure that we have to check these things before believing about the information or trusting that information. We have to check your biases also, that whether I am biased to that information or not. Sorry. We have to read beyond the headlines, means we try to understand it is not only the headline. We have to read the complete report and what that report is saying, because people write headlines, catchy headlines, so that they can catch attention, and but the detail devils lies in the detail. So we have to do that. We have to also ensure whether the author and the news story has the supporting resources, whatever it is claiming in those articles or the information. Or we have to understand whether this is just a satire or a joke, and we are considering it as a very factual or scholarly piece. So these things. And if after all these things we are not able to understand, then we have to ask the experts. We have to consult the fact checking website. There are so many fact checking websites which we can consult and see if that information is right or wrong. Overall, in international arena, these are the fact checking website, such as Fact Check, PolitiFact, Snopes Fact Checker, All Sides, Balanced News, ProPublica, Open Secrets, Sunlight Foundation, Washington Post Fact Checker, Truth or Fiction, Urban Legends. So these are the fact checking website which you can check for international news. But for in case of India, you have very good website which are working to check the fake news and the misinformation circulated on social media and viral information going on. So prominent one is Alt News, then Boom Live, Digit I India, Factly, Fact Checker News, and also other news related platforms have also developed their own fact checking division. So we can also go to those news outlets and see if what is their take, or what is their expertise saying on that news, which we are not able to understand whether it is right or wrong, or it is a fake news. So this is all about the fake news. As we see that this is misrepresentation of the information, disrepresentation of the information, and it actually create problem for the business, for the social harmony of the system. And there are various ethical issues related to the fake news, and it should be curtailed as soon as possible. Otherwise it reaches beyond a point and people start believing that news. So it is responsibility each one of us to understand this thing and try to contain that news and circulate the relevant and the factual news. And before circulating, we have to do the spotting and verify and pass through the information. We have to pass through some steps and scrutiny, whether it is passing those steps or not, and then only we should transmit it to the WhatsApp groups or Twitter or on social media, so that we are not becoming part of the propaganda or sharing the false information. So I hope you like this lecture, and this is complete lecture from my side. If you need more details about this lecture, and if you have any queries, you can write back to me on the email ID which I have shared on the first page. I would like to thank you for your precious time and the patience uh, from which you have listened to this lecture. Thank you very much.